Greetings, Upstanders. Dr. O here. And as I continue to watch the responses to the flood coverage, I think it's very important that three names get mentioned here. The first two names that I want to mention that many of us have not heard are Silvana Garza Valdez and Maria Paula Zarate. These are two Mexican teen counselors who worked at Camp Mystic and saved the lives of 19 or 20 of those campers. We heard the story tragically about the director who helped save people or was trying to help save people when he passed, and that is a story that needs to be told. But I think I haven't heard a single story about these two Mexican teenagers who helped save these girls. What they did was they helped get them to higher ground, and they also wrote the names, make sure all of the kids wrote their names on their arms so that if the event that they tragically did die, that they could be identified. This is important with all of the anti-immigrant sentiment, with all of the anti-Latino sentiment that's going on in this country. It is important to highlight these two heroes just as much. I heard something about a swimmer of some sort who saved like 160 people, all of these different things, but I have not heard any stories about these two in any of the mainstream media spaces. And it's mainly being reported in Mexican newspapers. And the Latin Times, covered this as well. And I saw someone speak about it on LinkedIn. The other person who I think it's worth mentioning is the Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, who has sent a group, according to KTSM and other networks, has sent a group of firefighters and rescue personnel to help search for flood victims in Texas. Again, definitely something you're not going to be hearing on Fox and those other platforms, but I haven't heard any stories about these on MSNBC or any of these other platforms as well. And this is important because this is how we counter the hate. Because the narrative out there about this is how Trump started his campaign. Mexicans aren't sending us their best. They're sending us rapists and so on and so forth. That narrative has catapulted him into the White House again. All of these people who are in this country who are Mexican are by some people considered to be here illegally. They're not sending our best. These people save lives. And if everything going on between Mexico and the United States, Scheinbaum could have been like, oh man, so too bad, so sad. But again, appealing to showing common humanity. We understand that these are lessons that Trump will never learn, that JD Vance will never learn. But these are messages that do not have to be lost from the rest of us in this country. The majority of people who are being rounded up, and majority brown people are being, some black people have been rounded up. As majority Latino people who are being rounded up and sent to CCOD and all of these places. The overwhelming majority of them do not have criminal records. But because of the continued narrative from Stephen Miller and others, it makes it easier to dehumanize these individuals and be able to send them to places like this Alcatraz in Florida and so on and so forth. But if we bring stories like this to the light, and if we talk about and celebrate these individuals every day, it makes it harder for people to hate them. And it makes it harder for new generations of people to hate them. I was driving my kids home today in DC, and there was, we're driving through the National Mall and everything. And, I saw the parents and their 3 or 4 kids, and these 10, 12, 13 year olds, the kids had, Trump hats on. And I just find myself thinking, like, what are they being taught as it relates to compassion from a president? What are they being taught as it relates to finding common ground and humanity? And it just really bothered me. And luckily, as I got home, I saw these two stories of these two individual teenage heroes and what the Mexican president is doing. And these stories give us hope, and more networks should be covering them. So I want to say thank you to the three of them. And I want to say thank you to anybody else who's willing to share this and talk about it, and just paint a more holistic picture of the stories of hope that are coming from this tragedy in Texas. Peace.